where do you fall on this, Isaiah? I have a guy here who out on a first date, and he asked his date to split the bill with him. Now, it sounds like he intended to pay when the date got started. But then the gal he was out on a date with ordered an appetizer for the table for the two of them, but it's something he didn't like. And so at that point, he's like, can we split the bill? Because I didn't even touch the appetizer. And it's wild then because he goes on and you see them filming later on of like they just argued about it. Like that was the date pretty much of them arguing whether she should pay half of it. So needless to say, a second date not in the cards. But she ordered an appetizer for the table that he didn't want to eat. How do you go forward from there?
See, on this one here, I saw this video over the weekend.
Yeah.
And he asked in the video, he's like, would you mind like splitting the bill?
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, why would we split the bill? Obviously, you asked me out on a date. Why would I pay? Yada, 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 whatever. And he said, well, you ordered an appetizer that I, didn't ask or want. And I didn't touch it. And it was their first date. And then they spend a lot of time arguing whether or not they should split the bill. And at that point, if you're arguing about splitting the bill, you need to split the bill because this is going nowhere.
Right.
I mean, it's not like you're going to get this. There's no second date here at this point. If this is such a huge argument, like this isn't, you're not wrapping this back around. So for that reason, I think alone that you should for sure be splitting the bill.
Yeah. I'll tell you, one, I wish I knew what the appetizer was. And I want to know how things were going down leading up to the appetizer order. Was that discussed in any way? I wish I had more background. Obviously, this guy sucks.
Wait, which guy?
The guy.
Why do you think he sucks?
You can't, after the fact, ask to split the bill.
What are you talking about? It wasn't like he said in the beginning, I'm going to pay for it. And then he came back around and said, I'm no longer going to pay for it. He just said at the end of the date, can we split the bill?
Yeah, but if she ordered the appetizer, I think that's a part of the date.
Yeah, but so you're saying that the man has to pay for the first date?
I think if he came in with the expectation that he was going to pay, if both parties, which is typically a first date, how it works, then you can't change the rules later on.
But there was no rules that were set. It wasn't like he came in and said, hey, I'm going to ask you out on a date and I'll pay for your drinks and your food.
If you ask somebody out on a date, then you're implying that you will pay. Whether you're a guy or a gal.
Are you talking about?
You can't ask somebody else out and say, hey, can you pay for me?
No, I'm not saying, can you pay for me? I'm saying, so you're saying every first date that a person goes on, the man should pay for it every time.
I'm saying the asker should pay every time.
The asker should pay. I don't think that's right.
Unless you agree before anybody orders anything. You have to, otherwise, I don't know. But would you agree that then wouldn't it be simpler if the guy always paid, if that was the assumption?
Well, I just think that there should be no expectations anybody's going to pay for you if you're going on a date. Like, I think if you're going on a first date, I mean, when I went on first dates, I've paid because that's what I do.
Yeah.
But if we went on a date and I said, let's split the bill and you scoffed at that, then that would be a red flag to me. This is our first date.
But paying for the other person is what makes it a date.
That's not what?
That's what makes it a date.
How does that make it a date? The date is the time you spent together. It's not about me. So a date is just me buying you something now? That's a date? If we go to Kroger and I buy your groceries, now this is a date.
That's not
and it wasn't a date that we spent time together. It's because I bought your groceries. It's a date. I think if you go on a date, you shouldn't be expecting anyone to pay for you, but it would be nice if they did.
Can we agree on this? If you ask somebody on a date, you should be prepared and expecting to pay for both of you.
I think you could have your card ready, but I'm not. If you don't want to pay, you don't have to pay for them on the date. If it's your first date, I think if it's your first date, you're not forced to pay for them. You can easily go 50-50.
But in your world, here's what sucks, is that you could get asked out on a date and be like, okay, I'll go. And then it's not a great date. And then they fork you half the bill.
Yeah, that's the risk of going on a date. If I go on a date, if I ask a girl on a date and she's horrible, I'm going to just pay for her food now?
You asked.
Yeah, but still, it's your first date. You're never forced to pay on the first date.
I can't believe this. The asker should pay.
Wasn't that a great Riot clip? While you're here, you should watch more of our videos and subscribe so you don't miss what we do next.